As I looked into Mark's eyes, a fire started burning inside me. Just like always, I got lost in his deep gaze, intoxicated by every word he said. But this time, something else was. Their jealousy, calling me to drown in it. Emma, with her growing closeness to him every day, fueled a fire of anger inside me. Mark's hands, as usual, intoxicated Emmy. My body was drawn to him. Every moment with him felt like I was his. But deep inside, a sense of unease was growing. Emma's presence, his attention toward her, was making me lose control. One evening, when I was alone with Mark, I took a step toward him. My eyes locked with his, and I said, "Do you want me?" My voice was slightly trembling, but it was a sign of the desire I had for him. Mark, with a teasing smile, moved closer, his hands roaming over my shoulders. "Always," he said, his voice full of power, but that power also made me hesitant. I could feel that this jealousy was making everything more complicated. At the same time, I felt fear creeping in. My jealousy was turning into a monster, growing with each passing day. Every time he directed his gaze, his touch, to someone else, it felt like something inside me was opening wider. "Mark, what's going on with you and Emma?" I asked, my voice trembling as I spoke. Mark squinted and looked at me, then walked away. "I'm helping Emma, just helping," he said, but the tone in his voice didn't sit right with me. That moment, wanting him so much, falling for him so completely, was starting to hurt. But at the same time, his touch drove me crazy. The thought of him being with someone else was enough to drive me mad. As his lips moved down my neck, my breath quickened. Slowly, I tilted my head back. A voice inside me screamed, "Don't do this, Mary." But another voice said, "No, ask for more," and I couldn't resist anymore. He had such control over my body. I gave myself up to him. After a while, as Mark's hands moved over my body, my eyes were closed. His touch completely surrendered me. In that moment, everything disappeared. It was just Mark and me. I could feel the conflict inside me, the desire. Thinking of Emma suffocated me, but as Mark's body slipped deeper into mine, I faded away from the world. I wanted him more. The moment was so intense that I barely recognized myself anymore. I was losing myself in it. But by the end of the night, our eyes met for a moment. In Mark's gaze, I could see a question. "Do you love me?" he asked. In that moment, I realized how hard it was to answer that question. Mark and Emma had something going on, and that created doubt in me. But being with him, feeling his touch was so powerful, I decided to leave the question unanswered. I turned my gaze away from him, but a smile appeared in his eyes. He softened his gaze and pulled me closer. "You won't lose me, Mary, don't forget that," he said. In that moment, I thought it was temporary, just a fleeting moment. But then I thought of Emma and realized how close they were getting. Every day, the more I wanted Mark, the more I saw Emma growing closer to him, and it was driving me crazy. The next day, I met with Emma. Her innocent gaze was suffocating me again. As I looked at her with guilt, I thought about Mark's touch. My loyalty to Emma wasn't as strong as I thought. My desire, it wasn't about being loyal. It was about accepting everything Mark wanted. So as I spoke to Emma, I had to suppress the internal conflict. At night, Mark's moves, his gaze, only intensified my rebellion. I accepted it. I was sharing everything with him, losing myself in it. But this desire, it was making me lose myself, taking Emma's place in my life. The guilt of it only grew, but Mark's attention to me swept everything away. His touch, him being inside me ... The day I met Emma, I realized how much I could affect her. In that moment, something shifted inside me. Emma's life needed a new man. It was the right decision for both her and me. I thought of someone. I decided to tell Emma about Mark's cousin. My words trembled slightly, but I knew this would grab her attention. "You know, Emma," I said, with a hint of mystery in my eyes. "Mark has a cousin. I had the chance to meet him once, and let me tell you, he's really something else. Charismatic, passionate. When you look at him, it's like your mind just flies away." Emma's eyes showed a hint of curiosity. This was the first step of my plan. "Really?" she said, a little surprised. Her innocence told me that my plan was working. Yes, I said, he's so captivating. But don't forget, Emma, he's such a dangerous man. Who knows how many others are after him? As I spoke about Mark's cousin, something inside me grew. The more I spoke about this captivating man, the more Emma's eyes fixed on mine. I knew how her innocence could stir up jealousy. Yes, I said, someone like him could always be there for you. You deserve that. Emma thought about it, and I could see her getting more intrigued. I really like to meet him, she said. That sentence felt like victory to me. But the real shock came during my conversation with Mark. I told him how important it was for Emma to have someone enter her life. I spoke quickly, but Mark's change of expression stunned me. Why, he asked, coming closer, why are you suggesting someone for Emma? I'm the one closest to her, and I know she needs a man's support. It'll do her good. I continued talking about Emma and praised her. As I did, Mark's eyes shifted, as if he was thinking about Emma. Immediately, I reacted. Stop it, I said, but his gaze had changed into something else. I care about you. Mary, he said, I've always been watching you. When I look at you, I'm losing myself. His words affected me deeply, but at the same time, he raised a sense of unease inside me. Mark came closer and started touching me, making me feel everything. You love me, don't you? He said. In that moment, I tried to pull away from him, but I couldn't. He was so powerful. Every move, every touch made it impossible to resist. But Mark's reaction created an opportunity for me to change my plans. Emma had to distance herself from Mark. My determination to make her fall for someone else grew. Mark's cousin would seduce her, take her mind away. Our relationship would continue as it was. The right move was to distract Mark's attention from Emma, fueling my desires further. Emma's distance from Mark would be the solution for both of us, and everything would change. Making sure Emma's life included someone else gave me the feeling that I was in control. Separating her from Mark, introducing her to another man, would strengthen my bond with her. But deep inside, I knew how dangerous this plan was. Mark, Emma, and I, this complicated triangle between us was turning into an emotional war. Who would win? What would you have done if you were me? Do you approve of the decision I made? Or would you have done something different? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications for the continuation of the story.